There is a calm before the storm, and the first storm that could be hitting us very, very shortly will be junior road tax orientated. 36 drivers, 14 minutes, plus an additional lap. The grid I'm going to run through as quickly as humanly possible. On the front row, it's Christian de Klein from the Netherlands, Thomas Martens from Belgium, Farim Mega and Tim Gerhards on row number 2, Dan Ginchard and Luca Schoenmakers, row 3, Patrick Knowles Lokmelis and Magnus Pedersen, row 4, Arvid Rosen and Maurice Schmeis complete the top 10. Tommy van der Stroys and Drake Janssen, that is row number 6. Danny van Hoyten and Valentin Kloos, that's row 7. Jaden Thien and Dewey de Decker round out row 8 with Oscar Christensen, Marius Roos, Bruno Molders and Tom Brachen rounding out the top 20. Completing the 36-strong order, it is Tern Schmidt, Max Knappen, Milan Ritter, Alex Mikos, Luke Nielsen, Enzo Bol, Simon Birch Christensen, Roman Sakowski, Sam Bergstein, Mikkel Gard Pedersen, Maxim Serchurko, Kyan Agasade, Austin Lee, Nikita Genza, Nick Gerhards and Nathan Sharp. So there was a change after the second chance heat, so there were some amendments made post-race, so that is why there have been a few changes. We come to the mushroom cloud crescendo in some respects. Well, this is the appetizer before the main course, or shall I say the main course before the dessert. Think of it what you will, but junior and senior road tax, the two most highly charged competitive categories within the road tax racing family. All of them are competitive, but when you look at the potential superstars of the future, Mark Kimber has gone on to GT racing following a win at the grand finals as a junior in 2016. Juan Manuel Correa, now recovering obviously from Spa-Francorchamps last year, an FIA F2 driver. Many drivers have made their way through the road tax racing ranks, and I'm sure that we will see the odd occasional shining light, shining brighter than everyone else, that heads into the higher echelons of motorsport. So it's Decline, Martens, Mega Gerhards, Ginchard, Schoenmakers, Lokmelis, Pedersen, Rosen and Schmeis. That is your top 10. 18 rows of competitors. 36 drivers, 14 minutes, plus an additional lap. We go round the final corner. Ladies and gentlemen, ready, steady, lights out, we go racing one final time, and someone has an absolute howler of a start. That looked to be possibly down at the bottom part of the top 10 as they all thread their way. And that's 4 abreast. Someone goes sideways as they all go running. Oh my goodness me, rally crossing into turn 3 off of the runoff area. Someone's gone 180 degrees the wrong way. 3 wide coming through into turn 5 for the first time as there's more carnage at turn 4. I count 3, 4 karts that have just been compromised and starting to get back out on circuit. And it looks like Martens has got the lead, but probably not for long, because that looks to be Tim Gerhards up the inside from SP Motorsports. And I think that's Dan Ginchard that is now up into P5, possibly, as Gerhards takes a little bit too much curve through the entrance into turn number 8 for the first time. They come through turn 9. It is 3 wide yet again on the entrance into the corner. There are drivers going wide. There's people going on the curbing. That's not really what you want to do in a final, especially if you end up sideways. But at the moment, Tim Gerhards leads as Dan Ginchard goes up into 3rd place. Excluded post-qualifying by the minutest of tolerances. He's fought back from stone dead last to be in the top 5, and now he is in 3rd place. I don't know who's going to win this one, but let me assure you, it's going to be very, very interesting for the next 11.5 minutes, because now it is quite clearly all for themselves. I've had conversations with drivers this weekend saying, "What do you think that karting is a team sport?" They go, "Well, yeah, you do hope your teammates, but of course I want to win." And that is quite clearly true. The killer instinct that the minute the visors go down is when you see that internal light switch flick on. And I know some of these junior road tax drivers, and they are such great kids, some of them, as we've now got to change for second. Dan Ginchard past Thomas Martins. Now Ginchard is on the hunt. He wants to get past Tim Gerhards. And now we've got Christian Decline from the Netherlands in 4th position. Pedersen, Sean Mackers, Janssen, De Decker up into 8th place. Lochmelis is now in, I think, around 9th or 10th place. So still plenty of time to go, and Ginchard drops the hammer quite convincingly. Despite the wet weather conditions, he has just taken quite a considerable chunk out of Tim Gerhards. The gap now 0.995 of a second. So Janssen and Schmeiss up into 6th and 7th behind Sean Mackers. De Decker 9th, Lochmelis, Knappen, Mega, Van Hoyten, Klus and Mikos round out the top 15. Looks like we have a driver that will no longer be taking any further part, and that is Turn Schmidt from the Netherlands. Nathan Sharp, unfortunately, a non-starter. So we are down to 34 competitors. In many respects, now the hunt is on. Gerhards knows this circuit well. He was last year's BNL Karting Series Minimax champion, as Christian Decline goes up the inside of Martins and takes 3rd place through the exit of turn 10. Through turn 11, fires back the number 255, but then Decline goes up the inside into turn 12. That nearly opens the door for Sean Mackers, but then Decline fires back. Martins retakes it. This is like a chess game between these two for 3rd and 4th position. Pedersen down into 10th. De Decker and Lochmelis up into 8th and 9th respectively behind Maurice Schneis. Jaden Thien on the move as well. He's up into 19th as the youngster from the Netherlands. Agasade rounds out the top 20 representing Germany. Ritter down in 34th. That's a real shame for Milan. We have seen performances from him that have been a lot better, but it has been a difficult one this weekend for all involved. As there is the 285, and that unfortunately is, or was that the 235? The 285, I believe. So there's one driver there. There's a bit of, let's just say a bit of rubber scuffing on the side of it, a bit of tyre marks there. So someone now has got a bit of rubber and now has also had a bit of a spin. So that's really not happening, helping other people. I'm just having a look up and down the order. Tommy van der Stroy started in P11. It's been a baptism of fire from the youngster in the 254 running from the Netherlands, as we have. Now, that was very, very nigh on clumsy a little bit, I think, possibly for one of the drivers. That could have been maybe Schmeiss or Janssen, maybe trying to go up the inside of Sean Mackers. But it's going to be quite interesting how drivers now respond. So at the minute, Christian Decline is up into 3rd past Thomas Martins. Sean Mackers 5th. Janssen, Schmeiss, De Decker, Lochmelis, Pedersen. The 253 of Simon Birch Christiansen, who had that spin a bit earlier on today, has recovered up to 11th position so far. Valentin Klus. Then it is Oscar Christiansen, Nick Gerhards, the twin brother of Tim, who is currently leading at the moment. The only set of twin brothers we have in the BNL Karting Series, up ahead of Nikita Gensa, Fahin Mega, Alexander Mikos. Then we have Kian Agasade, Jaden Thien and Marius Rose round out the top 20. So Thien running pretty well in his first race weekend as a junior Rotax driver. But obviously, with regards to the results, the weekend results after today, it's going to be interesting to see who will win juniors and who will win seniors, because if I'm honest with you, I am not going to count any chickens before they hatch. If it was 2 races, if we had just 36 competitors, it would be a little bit more straightforward. But as always, juniors and seniors heavily subscribed every single time we go racing in the BNL Karting Series. And this weekend has been no exception, with around 43 competitors here over the last few days, practicing, qualifying yesterday afternoon, and now in their final race. We have just under halfway to go. So we've got a lot. We haven't got a long way to go, but we've got a short time to get there. But it's going to be just a case of who wants to move forward the most. And I'm keeping an eye on race lap times at the minute. Now, Tim Gerhard's just put in a 1 minute 14.275. He's about to come across the line and start lap number 7 here. 1 minute 14.0. Dan Ginchard puts in his best effort of a 1 minute 14.608. The gap now increases to 2.366 seconds. And it is nip and tuck between... I'm not a betting man. I've never put it down a bet to the bookies in all my life. Sportsman's bet I've been more than privy to, but it is, I think, between Gerhards and Ginchard, with advantage to the former in who might get that ticket to Le Mans. And I know that Dan Ginchard is a fighter and will fight his opponents every single step of the way towards the checkered flag, as unfortunately I have to report that Milan Ritter will no longer be racing in this weekend, as the 220 from Denmark with Aris competition has now retired officially as of lap number 4. Other positional changes, the 262 of Christensen, that's Oscar Christensen from Denmark, who was involved in the incident between himself, Fahin Mega and Milan Ritter earlier on this afternoon in the last of the qualifying heats. Some drivers opting to take different racing lines, as Drek Jansen also running in SP Motorsport colours this weekend, trying to close on Martins for P4. Schoenmakers, Schmeis, Lokmelis, Christensen, De Decker, the other Christensen in the 262, so that's the 253 of Simon Birch Christensen and Oscar Christensen in 9th and 11th respectively. Then we have Magnus Pedersen, Nick Gerhards, Nikita Genser and Danny van Hoyten rounding out the top 15. Then from there it is Klus, Mega, Knappen, Thien, Mikos, Brachen, Rose, Sakowski, Agasade, Rosen, Nissen, Van der Stroys, Mulders, Pedersen, Lee, Bol, Srchoko and Bergstein. That is the remaining 33 of the 33 drivers that are still competing. We're now heading into the last 4 minutes. The gap between... now that was very, very close indeed, as Drek Jansen and Lucas Schoenmakers might have had a little bit of a incident there. Well, they are getting very, very close and personal indeed, so we'll see how that battle expands over the course of the coming few moments. So coming into shot, that is Lukas Schoenmakers and Maurice Schmeis. They are teammates at JJ Racing, but they do say that you can race your teammate, don't take him out, because that's the golden rule in racing. You can fight hard and fair, but make sure that if it is your teammate, you keep on the right side of them, as in leaving them enough room. Hard and fair racing, and karting is meant to be a non-contact sport, but as long as you leave enough of that distance, so at least you don't interlock wheels, bang side pods, bump draft to the point where you accidentally spin your teammate out. That there are multiple permutations. Tom Brachen now up into 19th position. It's not been an easy one from the youngster from Belgium, a former BNL karting series champion in his own right, and in many respects he is a very, very talented young man, but now it's a case of being put out of the frying pan and into the fire effectively. So Tom Brachen actually started in 20th position when we went lights out and off and away just over 11.5 minutes ago. Daniel Ginchard will now keep on just putting in the laps. He's put in his fastest lap of this race. Tim Gerhards in the meantime has extended the gap to 4.338 seconds and has just gone 9 1/1000ths off his best lap time in this race. His best lap is a 1 minute 14.071. The last lap he's just done is a 1 minute 14.080. So effectively, to have that kind of metronomic consistency is pretty good. Maurice Meis has just gone purple in sector number 2, the 2:15 from Germany, rounding out the top 7, about 5 seconds ahead of Patrick's Nolslok-Melis from Latvia. Then we've got the 2:53 of Simon Birch Christiansen and Doig de Decker, aka the Blonde God, and that is to do with that fabulous mane of blonde hair that we always see him sporting whenever he's on social media. Thank you, Vincent, from FM Images, in some respects. But no, Doig's a really good kid. He's finished on the podium of the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals, so to see him here to get a taste of junior Rotax action is great from a perspective of the BNL, and just shows how truly international our drivers are, because they compete not just here in the BNL karting series, but they compete in multiple different karting disciplines, and it's not just Rotax, but we like the fact that they do like to come back home. So we now are into the dying throes of junior Rotax. Oh, a little bit of a side-by-side clash there, and that is between the 2:55 of Martens, and I think that might have been Drek Jansen alongside in the 2:31, as Tim Gerhards goes across the start-finish line with around about 15 seconds on the clock. Makes it now the penultimate lap of this race. Dan Ginchard, 4.6 seconds adrift, but also puts in his best lap. The fastest lap of the race has now gone to the driver in 12th position, JJ Racing's Danny van Hoyten from the Netherlands in the 2:34. So it's Decline, Jansen, Martens. So it was Drake Jansen that went past on that particular occasion. Schmeiers, Sean Markers, Simon Birch Christiansen, Lock-Melis. Van Hoyten now has got past De Decker for the last position on the top 10. De Decker in 11th, Oscar Christiansen 12th, Magnus Pedersen in 13th. And good to see that Nick Gerhards, who started all the way down in the penultimate spot on the grid, 35th, now up into 14th position. That is a 21 place gain over the course of the race. Timer has now officially expired for the penultimate time this weekend. So last lap board being shown to Tim Gerhards from SP Motorsport, representing the Netherlands. It's been a pretty good showing from the youngster, based just outside of Amsterdam. Now coming into a new chapter in his racing career, and I know for a fact through a recent Dutch documentary which featured myself and also Frans Langenberg as two of the commentators on the racing action on that video, they both want to be in Formula One. Now that is a big mountain to climb, we all know that, but if someone like Max Verstappen, who has raced in the BNL karting series himself personally, well, if Max can do it, I'm sure the Gerhards can. So Van Hoyten gets past Lock-Melis now as now we've had a spinner at turn 7. Now that was someone in possibly GKS colours, not too sure, but here we are. Checkered flag being waved for the penultimate time this weekend for the 2020 BNL Karting Series kickoff, and it waves for Tim Gerhards from SP Motorsport, representing the Netherlands. A great fight back all weekend. It's Dan Ginchard from Great Britain, from the KR Sports stable, that finishes in second place. Christian Decline makes it 2 Dutch drivers in the top 3. Then it's Drek Jansen, Thomas Martens, who actually drops all the way down to 8th position at the end of all of that. So Maurice Schmeiers, Lucas Schoenmakers, they now take 5th and 6th position. Thomas Martens would finish ahead of Danny van Hoyten, with Patrick's Nolslok-Melis from Latvia rounding out the top 10. Doig de Decker from Belgium, 11th, ahead of Oscar Christiansen, Magnus Pedersen, Nikita Genza. Nick Gerhards might have just seen that his brother's just taken the checkered flag first, but what a drive from the 206 from pretty much 35th position up to 15th at the end of it all. Valentin Klus, Tom Brachen, Max Knappen, Jaden Thien, Kian Agasade ran out the top 20 with Rosa, Mega, Sarkovsky, Mulders, Van der Stroys, Rosen, Sirchoko, Mikos, Nielsen, Lee, Boll and Bergstein. That is the last of the 32 drivers that finished the race in Junior Rotax final number 2 here at Karting Genk, with Pedersen, Ritter and Schmidt unfortunately not finishing the race, and Nathan Schaap not starting.